Hey kids. So I keep getting a lot of questions. I already made a video about this a couple times, just briefly, about help me with my third eye, and I think you're the right person to ask. How do I interpret the messages, images, etc. that are coming through my third eye? How do I open it more? How do I activate it? Pineal gland, DMT, etc. And all this stuff, and I don't know. There's just so much weird information out there. I think people have this perception that if you have an open third eye, then, and this might be true to some extent. If you have an open third eye, then you just look through it and you see the world in a completely different light all the time. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I mean, I've heard of some yogis just instantly having, 360 vision or whatever, and being able to see behind them in all directions and that kind of thing. And I don't know how that works. I don't know how you'll get there, if you can. I don't know whether it's a physical activation of the pineal gland, which, by the way, is already activated and working. Otherwise, you would have some serious physical problems right now. I don't know whether it's this spiritual center physically opening and expanding through extra energy because you've been focusing on it and, like pulling energy through this specific pathway. That sounds more likely. But again, your third eye is active. Otherwise, you would have no imagination. You wouldn't have dreams, probably. You would probably have some very serious mental ailments. So I'm not saying that you don't. I don't know you. But your third eye is already working. I don't understand when people ask me, how do I open my third eye? How do I activate it? You can help me with this. Da, da, da. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Open? It's already open. You just have to look through it. You have to learn how to look through it. Or it's not activated. If it wasn't already activated, then you would have some really serious problems. All your chakras are already activated all the time. Otherwise, you're going to be cut off and have something that's not working. And maybe you do. I don't know. Again, I apologize, but that's just how it works. All your chakras are already working. It's just some of them might be a little clogged and not clinking in the right directions and whatever. Or they might be a little slow and sluggish and need some clearing out. Okay. The other thing, so I don't know. What do you mean? Everybody says open third eye. Well, first of all, what is a third eye to you? What does active mean to you? What does open mean to you? It's like all of these things, these possibilities. I don't see visions. I don't. And this brings me to my next point, which is the the receiving of information. I sound so haughty lately. I feel like a know-it-all or something, and I don't know at all. I'm trying to be very specific that I know nothing, seriously. But I do know some things. I do know that you can get information, you can get messages through any part of your body. It's just energy. And chakras in particular, I'm going to limit this conversation to chakras, focus. You can receive information or messages, etc. through any chakra. Okay, and the way you perceive that information is through sort of a process that I learned to call proprioception. It might be proprioception, I don't know, I never really looked at the pronunciation, but it means basically internal touch. And it's a medical term, I think, that in some cases, because medical terms often have other usages, means the body's ability to sense itself internally. Okay, so as opposed to being able to feel something out here, I can feel my heartbeat. I don't have to do anything, I just sit there and I can feel it. Okay, it's something internal. I can feel my stomach churn. Beyond that, in an energetic sense, and as it regards the chakras, if all of a sudden I really, really, really want to do something, my solar plexus burns. if all of a sudden I feel this surge of love for somebody just by looking at them and I connect with them, my heart chakra gets really, really warm. And it almost sort of feels painful because it's this urge to connect, to merge with that person, and that's what the heart chakra is about. You get a really, exciting idea or something, then you might feel something up here. Sexual stuff, you're probably going to feel this burning or this pull in your second chakra, and so on. And I still call that a proprioception because it physically is within the body. It's just that it's a different mechanism than medical science is referring and using the term for. So, that being said, when energy comes through any one of these lenses, that's the way I like to refer to the chakras. One of my friends on YouTube gave me that term. The chakras are just lenses. They're just these different foci, They're just lenses. They're not these, well, I'm not going to go into that. But you can receive energy through any of them, or from any of them, or from that particular area of your body interpreted through that lens, and you're going to have a different experience. Just like the burning sexual desire, just like the I don't exactly know what to do, the desire to move, to do something, to act is going to usually be in, the third chakra, or the desire to love or connect with somebody or whatever, and that, is going to be in the heart chakra. And you can have other perceptions, and I mean like other with a capital O, perceptions of the other come through those lenses as well. And so people keep asking me, how do I interpret the information that I'm receiving? And I think they're typically referring to the third eye and these visions that they're having in states of meditation. Again, I rarely have visions. I don't see a lot. I'm not a very visually oriented person. I am in some regards, but not in others. And so all I'm trying to say is you can put your focus on one of the lower chakras. Let's say you've done enough work so that you can sort of sense each one at will. You can put your perception down there, and you can allow energy to come through that focal point, through that lens. You can have that energy come from another being that you're working with, or anything that you choose. If you put your intention and your focus there, then that's what's going to happen. That's magic. That's physically altering the universe, tension and all that good stuff. And once you start to have that, then you're going to perceive information at the level that you choose to focus on. So if it's all the way down at the root chakra, you're going to get this very low feeling, heavy, grounded to the earth, survival type of instinct. This we are here, I am aware of my environment, what do we need to do to survive? It's disturbing in some ways because it feels animalistic. Or if you do it through the heart chakra, then you're going to get information interpreted through that lens. Apparently through the third eye you start seeing things, and I can pull information through my third eye, and if I did that enough, I'm pretty confident I would start to have a little more imagery floating through my brain. But what I wanted to say is that the type of information that I typically receive is the automatic knowing type of information. It's just an instantaneous perception, and that's how I channel. That type of information to me is through the crown chakra. I have probably an overactive crown chakra, whatever that means, and I have a pretty open crown chakra as well. And so that's where I pull my energy from. That's how I channel. That's where I perceive these things. And so channeling for me, or interpretation of the messages that are coming through, is just an instantaneous knowing. That's how I do it. I connect to this being or whatever, and then it doesn't send me a bunch of images, it doesn't send me any sounds, it's just whoop, and it's there, and I write it down. And it sounds easy, but it's not. It's still this process of trying to get my ego out of the way, my mind out of the way, and just let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. And if you don't, then you start attaching onto things. You start, oh wait, no, go back to that one. I need to just, and then it's all gone and jarbled, and yeah. So I think I've made my point. Yeah, I don't know. I seem to be getting a little riled up lately about these things, and my intention is just to tell you, like, I guess, just a discussion about it probably helps, because maybe maybe all people need is a little bit of a better definition of terms. I mean, there just seems to be these strange misperceptions about what the third eye is, and what energy is, and what the chakras are, and what they do, and what it means when you open them. I just, and so people will ask me for help. I don't know what you're asking for help for. I don't know where to attack it. You see what I'm saying? Do you want me to send a bunch of, energy to your pineal gland? I can do that for you. Do you want me to send it specifically to this chakra right here? I can do that for you. When you say activate, help with my third eye activation, I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? It doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's what we need to define here. And yeah, I'm getting into this mode lately. It always happens in the winter. I just feel like discussing things and hashing things out and getting really specific and writing things down in volumes. Sorry. All right. So yes, that's all.